An empty chair, a missing friend. Tonight, Samuel confronts a painful choice between his community and his conscience. Is loyalty worth sacrificing love? Watch as he grapples with dogma, hypocrisy, and the courage it takes to stand alone. Discover how choosing your heart can lead to a path of true belonging and unwavering self-belief. The church hall buzzed with warmth, a symphony of laughter and familiar scents of home-cooked meals. Samuel, a young man raised within these walls, usually found solace in this community's embrace, but tonight, a silent ache echoed in his heart. His eyes kept drifting to the empty chair at the table, a stark reminder of his best friend Mark, who was now excluded from the community he loved. The silence was heavy, a quiet judgment that hung in the air. He forced a smile, passing a dish to his neighbour, but the weight in his chest felt heavier than before. It was a conflict that churned inside Samuel as he thought about Mark and the church's decision. An elder approached, his hand heavy on Samuel's shoulder, uttering words meant to console, but instead they landed like a cold stone in Samuel's stomach. "We must protect the flock," the elder said. Protect the flock, Samuel wondered, his heart sinking. Was it protection to shut out his friend, leaving him out in the cold? Annoyed, hypocrisy filled the room as Samuel felt trapped. As the pastor spoke of unwavering commitment and difficult choices, Samuel's stomach churned. He felt trapped, torn between loyalty and truth. The truth the pastor spoke of felt like a painful choice. The warmth in the room seemed to suffocate Samuel as the words echoed in the hall. Again, Samuel's gaze drifting back to the empty chair. A long, silent moment passed, and the faces around him blurred into a distant haze. The anxiety tightened, feeling unbearable, until almost without thought he murmured, "I'm not feeling well," and stood. Leaving the hall, the cool air was crisp against his heated skin, and the anxiety began to loosen its grip. But uncertainty remained. He didn't know what the future held, but he couldn't live a life where his heart was divided. The night was quiet as Samuel tried to find his way. He drove through the quiet streets to Mark's apartment, his mind racing, unsure of what he would say, how he would make sense. But when Mark opened the door and smiled, the tension in Samuel's chest seemed to release. Unconditional love stood before him. Samuel stepped inside, closing the door behind him, leaving behind the echoes of dogma and fear, choosing to step into an unknown future. He had chosen a path that honoured his conscience and his heart, a path uncertain but truly his own, away from a life divided. For the first time that night, he breathed freely, knowing that growth demands courage to stand apart and stay true to oneself. The walls of the apartment seemed to soften, the colours growing warmer, as Samuel settled into an unfamiliar yet comforting space. Mark's easy laughter filled the room, a stark contrast to the hushed whispers and solemn faces of the church hall. Samuel realised that community wasn't defined by walls or doctrines, but by the acceptance and love shared between individuals. The fear of judgment began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of self-assurance and the freedom to be true to himself. He thought of the empty chair and the stifled conversations, understanding that true faith should never demand the sacrifice of love and compassion. As the night deepened, Samuel discovered that sometimes the greatest acts of courage are the quiet decisions to honour one's own heart. He knew the road ahead might be challenging, but he was no longer walking it alone, and that made all the difference. Samuel realized that true community wasn't about exclusion, but about embracing differences and celebrating the unique beauty of each individual. He understood that love transcends dogma, and that the most profound truths are found not in rigid doctrines, but in the boundless capacity of the human heart. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the window, Samuel felt a sense of clarity and purpose he had never experienced before. He was ready to face the world, armed with his convictions and the unwavering support of those who truly loved him. The empty chair at the table no longer haunted him, but instead served as a reminder of the courage it takes to create a space where everyone is welcome. And so, Samuel embarked on a journey of self-discovery, guided by the principles of love, compassion, and the unwavering belief in the inherent worth of every human being. Samuel understood sometimes growth demands courage to stand apart and stay true to oneself, even when it means facing the unknown alone.